Hey, good afternoon, Eagles. Ray Ramirez here. I know the honeymoon is over, and students are starting to show some of their true colors. Definitely seeing it from my vantage point. With that, I appreciate everyone's commitment and willingness to engage in the school-wide lessons. And so here we go with the preview of our next school-wide lesson. So I want to shout out Lee Spellerberg for her students naming, kind of looking through the notes of previous meetings, get it together, relearning how to be an academic achiever. All right, so really the purpose of this lesson is getting students to engage in reflection and practicing using the student planner and looking at how the student planner can be a tool for being an academic achiever and reinforcing those student learning outcomes. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. All right, in the email, you'll see again a few different links. There's the lesson plan here, and at the bottom of the lesson plan, you'll see the student printout. Okay, I'll be navigating between the student printouts and the lesson. It's the same document, just got it open in different tabs. Then also the lesson here, excuse me, the slides. All right, so again, just building that connection and that anchor lesson of emotional control, school-wide lesson number 1, and also just being intentional about how we transition from the first 35 minutes of your third period content to the school-wide lesson. So that's where we begin with that grounding exercise. All right, begin to set the stage and going over the objectives of the lesson. And then we launch into Michelle Obama's commencement speech for, that really talks about like, who are we going to be? How do you plan to live your life? Right. So after you show that video, there are some discussion questions. And those discussion questions are here. Okay. And these 3 questions you'll see are also linked, or not linked, they're also spelled out in the student handout. All right. Moving from kind of the setting the stage piece is jumping into the academic planners scavenger hunt. So you should have these academic planners, whether that's delivered to you or in your mailbox. We're figuring out those logistics. And the way that it works is, here are the questions and the answers are there. So I know some of you are more adept. If you wanted to create a Kahoot, this is opportunity to do something like that, or quizzes or Pear Deck. I'm still learning in terms of how to do that on a school-wide level. I'm familiar with how to do it on a class level, but some of those free to pay programs don't have those licensing yet. But if you know how to do it, please reach out, and definitely there to learn. But so you'll see here, right, as you go through the slides, ask students a question, bell schedules, where can you find graduation requirements, college admission requirements, otherwise A through G, where can you find the calendar view of an upcoming month, which page can you find a multiplication chart. The intent behind this is getting students to actually engage with their planner. And if you are familiar with this planner, you'll know that there's a wealth of resources specific to Oak Grove, but then also just general planning resources, as well as some just quick to flip content support. So definitely in years teaching in Eastside, I overlooked the power of this planner, but over time learned how to really leverage that as a learning tool and learning resource for students. So that is the scavenger hunt there, all right? So that doesn't have a connection to the printout, but the next section does. And so this goes to the explanation, like what does it mean to be an academic achiever at Oak Grove? What does it mean to soar academically, right? And if students struggle with this question, if you're getting crickets, and my suggestion is to click on the link there and go to our matrix, our SOAR matrix, where you can get some ideas of what does it mean to soar academically, right? And then for the next section of the lesson is making content relevant, making it applicable, making connections to the lived experiences. And so that's where we drill down and ask this question of how can my planner help me be successful? What are some concrete steps that I can take to use my planner, right? So how can it help me? And then what are some actual steps that I could take, right? Then we come to the reflection section where students reflect on their why. Why is it important to be successful academically, and why is it important to understand how to be successful? If we don't know how to do something, how do we ever intend to do it? The strategy here that I'm suggesting is give one, get one. So if you click on that strategy, and also in the speaker notes, you'll see there's not all the slides, but most slides will have a description or some of the thinking behind that there. Okay. So that could be where the lesson closes. If you wanted to dig a bit deeper or revisit the box breathing technique, definitely received some feedback that was helpful for folks. And so it's always good to revisit, right? Just because we taught it doesn't mean students have learned it. And then if we wanted to dig a bit deeper, looking into these subsequent slides for whether it's 7 habits of highly effective students, or just giving some students some brainstorming opportunities or deeper discussion, those resources are there. Okay. Again, these are simply offerings, kind of across campus, but I know you as professionals go in, make a copy, adjust it, adapt it to what works for you. And again, I will send a feedback form out in the email, but I'll also on the day of the lesson share that survey so that it can get some feedback. And thank you for your support. Thank you for continuing to be in dialogue and in conversation and in community as these school-wide lessons, as we begin to continue to evolve them. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Hashtag Go Eagles, and please reach out if you need any support. Thanks. Bye.